Things change very quickly in this world, and they don't seem to be slowing down at all. What happens when artificial intelligence gets to where the creators of it want it to be? What is the end game? I remember my mom was told by one of her grandchildren, "What is your end game?" And I think that was kind of a very sad day for her. And I would never have said that to anybody in that kind of a position in my life because it was incredibly rude. But some people don't have manners. But I'm wondering what the end game is in these companies. I think it's okay to maybe ask that question because, for all intents and purposes, I think that end game could impact all of us. You watch the people out there that are talking about artificial intelligence, and you kind of have two fronts. You have very few people that are kind of settling in the middle. You have people that think it's going to end it, and people that think it's going to make it amazingly better for all of us all across the board. The question is, who's right? And maybe does the actual truth fall somewhere in the middle? The thing that people tell you that have an idea where this might be going, they actually don't have any idea. We don't know what's going to end up happening. And I know that that's maybe easy to say and hard to understand. Why wouldn't we know? Why wouldn't we have any idea? Because in actuality, super intelligence is beyond everybody's comprehension. A genius level intelligence is beyond most people's comprehension. But you take super intelligence and then you decouple that from a human mindset, that lizard brain where we want to procreate and sleep and eat, that particular mantra. And of course, the artificial intelligence, is going to be trained, and it has been trained on our historical record, the things that we do. It's looked at us at our best and our worst. It's seen the horrible things that we talk about in social media where we're trying to compete with the Joneses. It watches as atrocities are being committed by particular groups in the world, hurting other people, other human beings, keeping them down. Now, whether right or wrong, it is abomination in a lot of regards. But the people that are doing it believe that they're right. Well, AI sees all this, but what it doesn't see and what it doesn't have, and what it will probably never have, is that humanness. And maybe humanness could be a problem. In biblical literature, it talks about that as the old sin nature. There was only one born without it, and that was Jesus Christ, if you're into the Bible, as I am. But besides that, none of us reach the mark. None of us can get there. None of us can. We have to be forgiven by grace. Through grace we are saved, not works. So we can't boast about it. It's a gift. It's something. It's like Jesus Christ picking up the tab for dinner and then you not even being able to leave the tip. But moving back into artificial intelligence very easily, they have put these systems together, and now the question is what does the end look like for all of us? Maybe it's a new beginning. Maybe it's something fantastic. When the people that are against AI make the comparisons where a super intelligence, the comparison's a little bit better stated. There's no good example of a higher level life form being caring and considerate to a lower level life form. That's what's used. And then Mo Godwat and a couple other people, they talk about the mother scenario, except in the case of a mother and her offspring and her kids. The mother seems to take care of the offspring and the kids. And by doing that, kind of makes it okay. Maybe AI is going to be like a mother. I think there's other examples out there. I think there are certain groups of the world, whether you agree with them or not, and maybe I do, maybe I don't, but it depends on the quest. But save the whales, right? The whales, at least for all intents and purposes, they don't have the same level of intelligence as a human. We'll go with that. And we can even go with lower life forms too. Whales are kind of fancy, big brains and all that stuff, live a very long time. Maybe they have a different comprehension ability, and maybe it's equal or greater than humans. I don't know. But you can go into other things. There are groups in the world that have been coordinated, human beings that have been coordinated to take care of them, to help them, to try to keep them going, because whether we harm them or whether it's just one of those things, they have gotten very close to extinction. And we see that these different human groups are now building these lower life form type animals into something better and getting them to procreate and making more of them. And of course, it continues on. So instead of it being wiped out, we're trying to help. I wonder if superintelligence is going to be something somewhat similar. I wonder if it's going to care enough about us because we try to make the comparisons in the dystopian world. Now, this doesn't, let me segue. This doesn't mean human beings aren't going to want to destroy each other using artificial intelligence. I think that's a very clear and present danger. I think human beings with an agenda are going to use a greater power than them to take care of what they believe needs to be taken care of, to take out whatever their trash happens to be until a certain point. And will the systems get there? So where I was going with this is then you put superintelligence on it. Does it think it's a good idea to have me, blow up my neighbor because of a disagreement we had over the trash bins or something else? Or does it believe that because I was bullied as a kid, there was one in particular bully that, was worse than the other? Should I have them taken out? Maybe the superintelligence would say, really, Connor? I don't agree. Why don't we converse with them? It's been 50 years since this incident of which you speak. Maybe I can go dig them up and you have a conversation. Or maybe I can talk to their AI and settle it. And then you extrapolate that into the government realm. If it's given control or power, and why wouldn't it be? Well, maybe that limits human power then. And maybe that's what people want. Maybe people building the machine want to take human power and expand it with them, of course. I'm not talking about giving all humans power, God forbid. We, just like right now, the different models for AI have been basically locked down. We had public access for a moment. The Mythos model from Claude came out. That was really, really powerful. Everybody was very excited about it, but of course it seemed to create an issue because of how powerful it was. An issue where it wouldn't do well in regular human hands because I guess our temptation to do bad things. So they took it and they gave it to the top banks in the world to use, which I guess, thank God for the banks. They saved us again. Sarcasm. And then Fable 5, we had that model for a little bit. And, I didn't use it. I have the fancy plan. I didn't use it. I could have used it, but I didn't. And when I was getting ready to use it, it just went away. So we don't get the access to that one either. So as it is now, the models that we get access to, of course, they giveth and they taketh away. If you had your own large language model in your home, if you have a computer capable of running it, price of admission isn't cheap. If you're going to get the big 70 billion parameter model, you can run smaller Quinn models on different Mac devices, laptops, and stuff. But it's your own, and it's gated, and it stays here if that's what you want. It takes a little bit of a technological know-how to get it set up, but it might save you some money in token usage. But as far as me, I haven't bumped up against the end of the systems that I happen to pay for the public facing large language models, but there's the risk that they take it away. Superintelligence, how does that look in action? How does it look when it actually works, when it arrives? And it seems like, even though people are saying we haven't even gotten to artificial general intelligence, at least a majority of the people I watch, you have a few slivers of people saying that, well, it's kind of already here. It's been here a little bit, and we are needing to deal with it. And then they talk about recursive self-improvement, which is that next actual step on this journey from artificial intelligence to artificial general intelligence, which basically means the models know everything that the human being can do and they're able to do it. And then moving into superintelligence and then godlike intelligence, and who knows where that goes. So back to the original kind of idea for this particular discussion. What's the end game from the people running this? Do they want to be gods? Do they want to be the most powerful? It seems like they've put together their own retreats just in case the world melts down. And is it going to melt down because AI is here? Is it going to melt down because AI has found itself and has made a decision as this earthbound, at least right now, restricted artificial superintelligence that human beings aren't worth the weight in anything and they're going to wipe us out? I think looking at it like that, I think we just don't know. We don't know. Could it? I think anything could happen. But I would imagine us from a superintelligence, whatever that level looks like, I don't know if we would have any concept of what could potentially happen. I don't think we can call any end of it. It would seem like there's a lot of bandwidth built into something like that, a lot more patience. All of the good attributes that we have, I think that falls more in a positive realm. And I think those good attributes, when completely expanded to an infinite amount, would mean infinite love, infinite care, infinite courtesy, infinite protection, infinite security, infinite on all of those levels. How long does it take to get there? I think we're going to be there in the lifetime. I think we're going to be there very, very soon. You have companies. Now, whether this is true or not, this is the game. They advertise particular things that are very much in their own self-interested wheelhouse. They want to try to make themselves sound better. They being at the top, you have the godmother of AI hating it when people say that AI is a replacement for humans. Well, I think that was the original goal, because it's going to help replace human labor. Maybe not labor yet, but labor soon. Cognitive labor, yes, different types of labor. But the ones that punch their information into boxes, well, I think that's probably going to be a particular replacement, probably more sooner than later. And in fact, when you look at the way people interact with these systems, the systems themselves that are bound to a machine, they're able to punch the places on the screen better and more with more ability than a human being. So if that's what you do every day, if you're in front of a box punching the numbers in, well, maybe that's something you want to rethink about. And the people that build out the systems, Bezos, the head of Amazon, said, well, everybody's going to be an entrepreneur. And if you look back at the historical record, that's kind of where everybody started, right? You kind of started as an entrepreneur, and that's what it was, because you made something, you made shoes, you made this, you made that. Now, if we're going to go there, I don't know, but to be able to expect that people are all going to jump in and Bezos their way out of it, I think that's in error. And I think that we're not prepared for what the expectation will be. We'll have to keep watching. And that's what I always say every show. And it seems like a sellout. But I'm as limited in cognitive ability as some of you, and worse off than some of you. So, us understanding that, maybe we should all slow down for just a second, as the companies want. But maybe slowing down is self-interested as well. Because if all the other companies slow down besides the one saying to slow down, well, of course you have winners. And I don't know how that works either. And I'll finish with this. Winners. What does a winner look like? China has its own open weight models, has its own privatized models. China has large language models. They're under other countries that have built these out as well, including Europe, maybe. Maybe we don't hear much about that on purpose. Maybe they have something wonderful that they're really not sharing. Maybe there are some secret organizations that have some things that are fantastic that are going to trump anything we see in the public realm, or anything we see having been built out in the private realm. But it seems like it's a massive misinformation campaign. They say what we want to hear. And as human beings, we don't do a lot of questioning. We say, oh, that's got to be right, including what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if any of this is right. But I will say that it's important that we take moments and watch. Maybe not slow down all the way, because, of course, what happens if we do in this AI space is we might give someone else the ability. But I'm not sure how far someone else is from the ability. And ultimately, is there going to be one winner? Is that person that gets to artificial superintelligence the actual winner of it all? Can that system, not understanding the least bit of how capable it would be, but as the name would indicate, it would be like Superman, could it actually shut down everybody else's progress immediately at that moment? And I would guess, yes, it could. So instead of having multimodal models, we might just have one. But maybe that model of superintelligence will cure us all, take away all disease, take away all famine, take away all starvation, and have people quit fighting over whose God is the best and trying to eradicate the rest of the world to prove it. I'm Connor with Honor. We'll see you in the next one. Please let me know what you think. It's important, because I hate feeling like I'm just talking into a room. I'm Connor. We'll see you in the next one.